Alrighty, here we are. Yeah, I'm Francie White, and I am a Feldenkrais practitioner here in Eugene, Oregon. And I'm going to just rearrange some of my desktop stuff here, get it out of the way. And welcome to Isolation Constellation. And I'm the guest today. And I have a lesson for you that I hope you'll really like, and I hope it's really helpful for you. So first of all, I want to thank Ed for setting up this page. I think he must be some kind of organizational genius to get this going the way he has so quickly. And um, I know I would never have been able to even think about doing this yet. So this is really cool. I'm really glad to be here. So thank you, Ed. Um, Hi, Luis. Ferdinando. Okay, bell hands, yes. So I love bell hand too. It's I, I for a number of reasons. For one thing, I play the piano, and from yes, hi, hi Jill. I play the piano. I played the piano all my life, and I had a huge amount of tension involved in playing the piano, and I literally played like I was holding onto a ledge for dear life. And the Feldenkrais method was huge for me because I got into my pelvis. I could feel my support in my back. My shoulders could let go. But the bell hand was something that allowed me to release my. And the bell hand and 4 years of Feldenkrais training was like worth about 10 years of piano lessons. So I love the bell hand, but I also love it because um, it accesses the parasympathetic nervous system. And so I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. Um, I became interested in the Feldenkrais method a number of years ago, probably close to over 10 years ago now. Yeah, when it was about a year after my mother died, and I had this horrible pain in my neck. Hi, Gabby. I had this terrible pain in my neck. I couldn't move my head in any direction without searing pain, like a hot wire running down my neck and between my shoulder blades. And I was just in agony, and I didn't know what to do about it. And one day I just got an email through my grapevine about a Feldenkrais practitioner who had just moved to town and was going to give a workshop. And I started working with her privately. And it turned out she was a retired Jungian analyst. And the very first day I saw her, she told me that the body holds trauma. And I knew she was right, but I just didn't know how right. And I found out over the next 7 years working with her how right she was. And I found all these places in my body where I had problems, like the arthritis in my lower back. And I saw that was connected with a frozen pelvis. And so that's a whole nother lesson there. But I worked with her for a number of years, and then I moved to Eugene to do the Feldenkrais training, and I graduated and I opened my office last year. So I wanted to just change up the schedule just a tiny bit. Um, I'm going to keep talking in a minute, but I wanted to get you started on something. So the first thing I want to do is kind of make sure that you have your place on the floor ready where you can lie comfortably, and just have that place on the floor. We're actually going to start in sitting. So I'm going to give you a second or two to make sure you've got your place. And then when you're ready, come and sit down and see if you can find a chair that's not too squishy. It's good to be able to feel your sitting bones. I want you to feel your skeleton. A lot of what we're trying to do in the Feldenkrais method is to be able to get our ground forces working through our bones instead of through our muscles, because when we work through our bones, the muscles don't have to work so hard, and a lot of times that's where we get muscle strain and pain. So everybody just find a seat and find your seat and just feel yourself in sitting, and feel your sitting bones in your pelvis, and just notice your right sitting bone. Maybe you could switch your weight a little bit to the right. Just feel your sitting bone, maybe circle around it a little bit. And then come on back to the left. And feel that sitting bone. And just notice what it feels like. Which side do you feel more secure on? Do you feel more secure on your right sitting bone or your left sitting bone? And just notice. And notice how when you shift your weight to the right, your whole body goes with you. When you go to the left, your whole body goes with you. Your skeleton is staying on top of that ground force. And just for fun, what would happen if you kept your head in the same place and you moved your pelvis? And notice how you end up bending and it doesn't feel as secure, somebody could knock you over. So this is a part of being fearless, is always taking your shoulders over these ground forces. So now start with, bring your attention. Well, actually, first, notice your feet. Get grounded in your feet and in your pelvis. Really sense yourself in sitting. And bring your attention to the upper part of your pelvis in the back, your sacrum, and that's where the spine attaches. And just start going vertebra by vertebra with your attention up your spine and just start to get that sense of your support in your back, in your lower back. Just vertebra by vertebra. In between your shoulder blades. All the way up to the base of your neck. Just feel that support. And notice your shoulders. How are they sitting? Are they sitting forward? Are they sitting back? Are they kind of in the middle? And notice your head, your cervical spine, and your head. How is it sitting on your neck? And now check in with the places in your body that are tense. I know I always had several places that were just always seemed tense. Couldn't seem to shake it. If I did relax it, a few minutes later it'd be back. And just check in with those places and notice them. And then notice the places that aren't tense. This is something we don't normally do, but find the places that aren't tense, the places that feel good. So just locate at least one place that just feels really good and always is relaxed and ready to go. So now, I want you to bring your attention to your hand. And let's just start with your right hand because it's easier to give instructions when I have one hand in particular. So bring your attention to your hand and just kind of notice how you can stretch it out, you can let it flex. Just notice this. And notice that if you take your other finger and you poke it right here, this is the mouth of the palm or the eye of the palm. And if you poke your finger in that place, look how your fingers all flex in. Your hand is just folding in on that spot. See how your fingers want to kind of come together. And this is the movement we're looking for. This is the bell hand. And we don't, in Feldenkrais, we usually don't do demonstrations, but since I can't see anyone, I think that I need to make an exception. So this is the movement, the bell hand. So what we want to do is just do this many times. And I'm going to have you start doing this. And I'm going to keep talking. So just start folding your fingers in towards each other where the fold is going into this eye of the palm or the mouth of the palm. We have a saying in Feldenkrais method, Moshe would say that we take the impossible and make it possible. We take the possible and make it easy, and we take the easy and make it elegant. And the way I view this statement is that it is the stages that we go through as we're learning a new movement. So we go from impossible to actually doing the movement. And as we do it more and more, and we bring our attention to the parts of our hand that are maybe holding more tension than we need to, maybe in your fingers, maybe in your chest or your belly, that the movement can become easier. It's like, oh, I get this now. This is easy. Okay, I can do this. And then as we start to learn how to bring in our entire body, our elbow and our shoulder, and our breathing, and our wrist, then it can become elegant. So we go through all these stages in 1 hour. We don't go through them in 30 minutes. We go through these stages in a long time, and we have to be patient with ourselves and with our brain and these connections that are being formed from our brain to our sensory motor system. So now, I also want to tell you, I want you to just keep this up while I'm talking. You just keep doing this movement. You get to rest whenever you want to. Just rest your hand if you get tired. And at some point, you might think about changing hands and start doing the other hand. So you can just do whatever you want. Just keep going while I'm talking. So this Feldenkrais practitioner told me on the very first day that the body holds trauma. And I just really didn't even know what trauma was, to tell you the truth. I knew I had been traumatized as a child, but I really couldn't tell you anything about it other than it just meant, right? So trauma leaves an indelible impression on the body and it doesn't matter what the mind thinks. The mind can go, oh, yeah, I'm safe. But the body still feels in danger. So it can leave us in this state of frozen fear where our nervous system is either stuck in a state of activation or it's stuck in a state of shutdown. And in my case, I flopped back and forth between the two. And it was like I had no brakes. I had no brakes. I had to wait until my car ran out of gas. So one of the things that I did in the Feldenkrais method was starting to come inside my body and to start understanding that I could live here and feel comfortable and safe inside my own body. That was huge. But there are also a number of ways that when we get in our body, we can start learning how to access this parasympathetic nervous system that allows us to, that is the brakes of the system. So one story that I have is that I've told on some of my videos is I played piano since I was little, and when I was like 10 years ago, I decided I wanted to try and learn some jazz. So I started at a university and I was taking some classes, and of course it meant I had to play in front of people, and I had so much stage fright that I could be playing a Chopin waltz perfectly, and if I just imagined somebody be in the room with me, I would start shaking and making mistakes. So I knew this was something I was going to have to start getting over. And I was managing, I was learning to play in front of people a little bit, but at the end of the semester, I had to play 2 improvised solos for a jury of professors. And in the middle of the second solo, my fear caught up with me and I could not remember what the next chord was. And I crashed and burned. I couldn't finish the song. And all of my professors said on my evaluation, just relax, exclamation point. And I wish that would have helped, but it didn't. The body does not understand language like that. The body understands the language of the body, sensation and movement. So being in this Feldenkrais, with this Feldenkrais teacher, that was exactly what I was working on. So when we sense a threat, the first thing we try and do is talk our way out of it. So it's like, nice kitty, pretty kitty. We try and talk our way out of it. That's social engagement. And that's the latest, evolutionarily, it's the latest defense that developed. But when we can't talk our way out of it, the next thing we do is the body energizes and mobilizes for quick, powerful action. It's either going to fight or it's going to run away. And when that doesn't work, the body goes into energy conservation mode to wait for the danger to pass. So we can get stuck in this frozen place, of immobilized fear. But the good news is in the last 20 years, we've had a lot of discoveries that are teaching us how to release this survival energy that gets trapped in the system. So what I wanted to show you today was one of these movements, the bell hand. And that's what you're doing now. And you can switch hands anytime you want to. You can rest. You can stop anytime you want. So always take care of yourself. When I start giving you these movements, one of the things you should keep in mind is always stay within your level of comfort. If it hurts, stop. You can do these movements to always stay underneath your level of pain. And that means even if you're doing it so small that nobody would even be able to tell you're doing it, you still get the same benefits from the movement, even if it's really, really small. Take rest whenever you want to. Take care of yourself. So, and also don't go as far as you can go right away. Stay within your level of comfort and let the movement grow organically so that the muscles can relax. And we never stretch in the Feldenkrais method. So let's see. So you're folding your favorite hand. Let's go back to folding your right hand to see what that feels like. And then do your left hand a little bit. What does that feel like? Which one's easier? Does one feel more comfortable than the other? So just pick whichever one you like the best. Pick your favorite hand. And now find this security in sitting and begin a breathing. Close your eyes and begin the breathing, bringing your attention to your heart and imagining that you are breathing in and out of your heart. And let the breath be a little bit deeper and a little bit longer than you would normally do. And just get this breath going. You're still doing the bell hand with your favorite hand. And get those two things going for a little while. And if at any time one of these movements falls off, just regroup and start back up again. So in doing these two movements now, the breath and the hand, start beginning to look for any places that are holding excess tension. Check in with those places that you looked at earlier. Maybe in your shoulders, your jaw. The belly is a favorite place. The pelvis is a favorite place. And just see if you can start letting go of some of those. Even if the tension comes back, just start letting it go. And now I want you to keep the breath going and keep the hand going. And slowly get up out of your chair and go lie down on the floor. While you're breathing, while you're doing the bell hand. And now lie on the floor with your knees up. So your knees are bent and your feet are under your knees. And you have the bell hand going with your favorite hand. And you're keeping this heart-focused breathing going. And now start rolling your head a little bit left and right. Just a little bit left and a little bit right. While you're keeping your hand going and keeping the breath going. If you ever become aware that something is falling off, then just start it all over again. Just keep it going. Hand, head, and the breath. And now, switch hands. Do the other hand. And keep the breath going, rolling the head, doing the bell hand with your other hand. Is it getting any easier? And now, let your knees tilt in the same direction that your head is rolling. So you have your breath, the heart-focused breathing, the bell hand on your opposite hand. Your head is rolling left and right, and your knees are also rolling, tilting left and right. Just keep all this going. And now switch hands again. Head is rolling left and right. The knees are going in the same direction as the head. And we have this heart-focused breathing. Imagining breathing through your heart, breathing a little deeper and a little longer than usual. If any of the movements fall out of your consciousness, then just start it all over again. Just keep working on this. And then, now change the direction of your knees. Take your knees in the opposite direction of your head. Your favorite hand is doing the bell hand. Heart-focused breathing. Your head and your knees are going in the opposite direction. And then let that all go and rest on your back with your legs long if that's comfortable, or bring it up, keep your knees up if that's more comfortable. And check in with those places that were tense earlier. What do they feel like now? And when you're ready, come up to standing and walk around a little bit. See what this feels like.